So today we're going to do a bit of a general reading and see what wants to come out. So what messages do we have for the collective? Knight of Cups. Nine of Cups and the Artist. Oh, and the Knight of Cups is in reverse. Can I get some clarifiers? One at a time, please. One at a time, please. Interesting. What? I said one at a time. I didn't mess my cards up. Anyway. Clarifier for the Nine of Cups, please. One at a time, please. And a clarifier for the Artist. Okay. Ooh, the Star. I see what you're saying. So, we're starting off with the Knight of Wands. I'm sorry. We're starting off with the Knight of Cups in reverse. So, that's saying that we're kind of already in a state where this is in, oh my gosh, this is in relation to something you're trying to manifest, possibly career related, very likely creativity related. Or it's just related to creativity in general, not a manifestation. So basically, you know, the Knight of Wands, oh my god, the Knight of Cups in reverse. The Knight of Cups in reverse is like, almost like feeling moody and dejected and not feeling like there isn't progress, feeling like things aren't going the way you want them to. Like, it's this sense of kind of a lack of fulfillment or stagnation even. But it's interesting because it's clarified by the Knight of Wands, which is kind of the dead opposite of that. It is action and fulfillment and, you know, just going for it. Which, then we have the Nine of Cups, which again, fulfillment. And the Eight of Pentacles is like hard work paying off. And then you have the Artist and, oh, the Knight of Wands also talks about creativity. Wands in general, to me, kind of talks about creativity. But then you have the Artist card, which is unique to this deck, and specifically it talks about creativity, but in the very specific way of you being like a portal to bring creativity into the world. And then we have the Star card, which is like, to me, like, it's a card of hope, but I also see it as a card of reaching your highest potential and like being a star in, it doesn't necessarily have to be like celebrity star, but just being like a rock star, like at what you do. So that's kind of how I'm taking it, because it's clarifying the Artist. I'm taking it as, you know, you're kind of in this mentality right now where you're feeling just like, ugh, about your, whatever this creative pursuit or project or career move is, but you're being asked to come at it with this level of passion and enthusiasm and to like get yourself fired up. Because when you do, this is what is coming out. So, you know, you're kind of flipping this energy to this energy is what we're looking for from you. So I'm going to grab some oracles as well on this to see what else might come out. You'll pull from the Ancient Stones. This is a newer deck for me, and I love it. So, you can grab a couple of these, one at a time, please. Felt that? So we have energy rising, and that's about confidence and decisiveness and making these moves. Which is ironic because me recording this video is doing just that. Is making myself do the thing. Kinda, sorta. I woke up like full of energy this morning. Next we have find your center, stay true to you, call it to you. Let's move on to another oracle. And I was feeling the Star Astro Codes one. Where did it go? Oh, there you are. It was hiding. This is another new deck. It's so pretty. I'm obsessed with the artwork. Beloved. Interesting. The Venus card. So it's odd in a creativity reading. However, I suspect I know why it came out, but we'll get there. Solar flares activate. Yep, that makes sense. Venus symbolizes your heart, romance, and the creative process. It all ties together, which is something that I'm learning myself. So, okay, so this is interesting because just in the Venus card itself, there's a few different messages. So one message, and kind of the first thing that I got when these two came out together, Beloved and Activate, is how love and creativity tie together, because they both kind of come through the heart space. So if you're open to love, you're open to creativity more. And, you know, they interact in that way. Creativity in its own way is a frequency of love as well. But the Venus card also says specifically, and I find this very interesting, that people are fascinated by those who find them fascinating. So that's saying if you show interest and curiosity in a person in your interactions with them, they're more likely to be interested in what you've got going on and to be curious about you, basically to kind of mirror that. And I think the reason that that message is coming through, especially in relation to a reading about being creative, possibly making a career move or working on a project like that, I think it's basically saying, like, when you go to like network with people, when you go to talk to people about your art, or just when you're meeting people through the course of this project, through the course of this, you know, potential career shift or whatever, they're asking you to engage with people a little differently than you have in the past. Which makes sense because every reading I do for you has bits and pieces for me as well. And that's very much a message that will impact me. So, I don't know why the words are escaping me a little bit today. Possibly because it's early in the morning for me and I did not get enough sleep. You ever have those mornings where your eyes just fly open and you're done sleeping and you have to get up? It was one of those mornings. But anyway. So yeah, it also says about making any situation more beautiful and being softer in life. And that's also giving, and this makes sense because it is the Venus card, lean into your feminine energy more as well. And that is whether you're, regardless of what gender you consider yourself to be, you still have both masculine and feminine energies. They're not actually tied to gender per se when we talk about them as energy. And then solar flares is talking about how things can change kind of suddenly, very quickly. Doors can open up out of nowhere that you weren't expecting. So I think in this situation, if there's something that you've been thinking about as I've been talking about it, what this wants to tell you is, this stagnant energy, especially when you are working to get yourself out of it, is going to shift very quickly for you into this kind of energy where, you're feeling fulfilled, your hard work is paying off, you're full of hope and that star power, and things are really, activating for you, to just quote the card directly. There's guidance to get centered and stay grounded through this. Because it's possible that this Knight of Cups in reverse energy is because you're ungrounded. It could be because maybe, astrologically, whenever you're watching this, the energies have been weird. Maybe there's been other stuff going on in your life that's making you feel unsettled or making you feel scattered. And in that, you're feeling maybe frustrated or unfulfilled, or like you just can't connect to your creative process, or you can't connect to this project or situation. And kind of something else with the Venus and solar flares is, and this is the thing I said we'd circle back to, this has been coming up in a lot of my readings, so that's why I'm like, as soon as these two came out together, I was like, oh, you're referencing that. So basically it's saying that you may not have had any kind of serious relationship or anything in a while. You may not even be thinking about dating, or you might be kind of towards dating, which is kind of where I've been myself. However, this is saying like part of what's going to help activate you is that you are going to find a loving connection. And like, I don't even do love readings. Like, that's not my thing whatsoever, but it still came out. But yeah, so it's like you're going to, like, you can do this like on your own. It's not saying that you can't, but it's saying something, a person, place, or situation is coming that you're going to fall in love with. And it's going to like open your heart space and really activate you into this energy, even more than you're already kind of going to shift into it. It's like as you shift into it, then this other thing comes in and it like sets you on fire. And you start, whatever this is, you start producing even more ideas and inspiration and leaning in. And when that heart space activation happens, you will find that inspiration flows much more easily, because like I was saying, the heart space and the creative centers are connected. I mean, it's the same thing. Like, you can create from the mind space, but what really flows tends to be from the heart space. Just speaking as a artist myself. Let's grab a few more. Of course, I have to reach for my other favorite deck, the Citadel. I also got this recently, and I'm obsessed. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck. Highly recommend it. And it's got like the foil on the front, which I love. Also, I don't think it's any coincidence that when I pulled it out, this was on the bottom of the deck, because this definitely ties into this energy. Well, I was looking at the artwork. If you look at the words, I mean, actually, no, you know what? That's true. It could be that you're deceiving yourself. I don't think someone else is tricking you in regards to this. I think that deception and trickery is more what the stories that you're telling yourself about this situation or this project or just your creativity in general. So let's see what wants to come out. It'll be funny if that card comes out, but that's what everybody says. Oh, okay. Haha. The King. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. The Walker. The Unknown. A Journey. That's like the card of my channel. Because my channel is The Journey. Which at some point a video is coming to explain the name. Yes, so, the King. Okay. So with the King, how I immediately took this, just in my own interpretation of King symbology, just in general and in tarot and all this. We'll get to the actual meaning of the card, but that aside, just the King coming out makes me feel like there is a depth and wealth of confidence available to you. And actually, I believe this card spoke to confidence as well. Or no, it was one of these. Yeah, Energy Rising. So, there is a depth of confidence available to you in regards to this situation. But you do have to tap into it. And I think that's kind of the advice you're being called to do here, is to just tap into your confidence as much as possible, because that's going to help you get into the creative flow, or help you go for whatever it is that you're trying to go for. The appearance of the King card is saying, hey, you have all of this power, like you are actually at the top of your game and you just don't realize it. So, okay, so this is kind of the deception thing that came up. And also this card having the Unknown. It's about you not seeing yourself accurately, which I think also is contributing to this Knight of Cups in reverse. So it's a little imposter syndrome. You're not seeing just how skilled you are, just how valuable you are, just how creative you are, just how much genius you have. Which the Star card came out, and to me that's also, it's the card of genius. Regardless of what kind of genius. It can be, you know, straight up like mathematical genius, it can be creative genius, it can be, you know, any number of things. And I feel compelled to talk about, every time the subject of genius comes up, I feel like I have to recommend a specific TED Talk. It was, I think, is her name Elizabeth Gilbert? Hang on, let me look it up. I have to look this up every single time it comes up too. It's the author of Eat, Pray, Love. The book. Yeah, Elizabeth Gilbert. I was right. Anyway, so she did a TED Talk, and I highly, highly recommend watching it, because it was very cool, because she talks about things that I was like, oh shit, yes, I absolutely experienced this as a creative. And, you know, she's talking about a poet who shared their experience as well. And one of the things that she talks about is the way that, I think it was the ancient Greeks viewed genius. So they didn't see an individual person as a quote-unquote genius. The origins of the concept is actually that genius like exists out there, and a person can tap into it. And technically anyone can tap into it. I think there's just people who maybe it comes more naturally to. And I think a lot of that, when it comes naturally to you, it's not so much that you're built to connect to it more than other people. I think it's confidence is a big part of it. And hear me out. So it's when I say confidence, that's synonymous to me with believing in yourself in whatever realm that is. And it's interesting because I personally have had the experience where I had a lot of confidence in my ability to pull creative ideas in my entire life. Like that has always been a confidence that has just been in me. But confidence in like every other way, being around people, showing my work, like not my artwork. I have never had a problem showing my artwork, but like everything else, like I have lacked confidence in. Just as a person, I have been, not confident in the past, and it's something that I've really developed recently. But that's kind of why I can look back now and be like, oh, my ability to tap in creatively is a form of confidence. Because when you tap in to something so intangible as, the ether, whatever you want to call it, all the energetic realms outside of the three-dimensional world. Like, I genuinely don't really know what to refer to that other than to say higher dimensions, I guess. But when you tap into that frequency, not when you're able, just when you tap into that frequency, you can trust that what you're tapping into is divine and needs to be pulled through into this world by you. Or you can doubt yourself, say, well, because this is coming through me, because you see it as coming actually like from you, not through you, you're like, oh no, I can't put this out into the world because it feels like I'll be judged for it. And I think I've run into so much because I'm an artist. And, most people that I ever meet find this out because I am quick to talk about it because I love what I do. So people see my art or we talk about art or whatever, and so often I hear from people, and I think this might be what this reading is really about. Or for some people out there, I think that's what this reading is about. Anyway, let me get on with it. I hear so often from people, oh, I can't even draw a stick figure. Oh, I could never do that. And I get the same thing from people with my hair because my hair is generally neon colors. Like it's hot pink right now. And, people are like, oh, I love it on you, but I couldn't pull it off. Or, I'm not brave enough to do it. And it's like, oh, you can do it. Just like anybody else, you can. And this is, of course, aside from, if you work a job where you're not allowed to have bright hair colors. But outside of that, like, you can do it. Yeah, people might have opinions, but they're just opinions. And at the end of the day, you're the only one living your life. And another thing I've come across, and one of the places that this came up, or that really I first noticed it, was back when I was teaching Girl Scouts, like, to get their arts and crafts badge. We would work with them on a clay project. So, you sculpt the clay, it goes in the kiln, it gets fired. That kind of clay. And we would give an example at the beginning of the class. So, whoever was leading the class, I was usually the assistant, so it was usually the other teacher. They would sculpt something. They would, show everybody the process as they sculpted it. And there was kind of two main reactions to this as the girls then went to do their own projects. You had the girls who had their own vision and they knew what they wanted to make, or they just made something that was their own, and that, like I said, is a form of confidence. And then you had the majority who would, to one degree or another, just make what the instructor had made. And I've seen this happen over and over and time again, where when people go to do something creative, they don't feel able to bring through their own ideas, or they feel like they don't have their own ideas. So they just kind of do what, the example was, or an example. of like other art or, you know, whatever it may be. This can apply to any number of things. So that's kind of where I'm saying that, you know, it's a form of confidence to, you know, be able to take your own idea and put it into form. Even if it's something no one's really going to see. Because in these conversations I've had with people, like, it's even when they would just be doing this on their own, like, either just with me or totally by themselves. Like, they don't even have the will, or they almost are like too afraid to even try because they're that concerned about failing and not bringing through something good. And that honestly probably ties back into the Venus card, because Venus also speaks of self-love. And, you know, it does require a level of self-love in order to allow yourself to fail. To say, I'm not going to be the best at this. It might be terrible, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's for my own growth. So I think all of that is to say, you know, with this Knight of Cups energy, you know, from kind of the meaning of the card, I'm getting, it's almost a stagnancy and unwillingness to proceed because you feel like what you're doing, someone has already done it better, or you just don't think yours is going to be good enough. You don't think it's going to be well received. You don't think you're going to get the job. Like, it's very much that I don't want to try because it feels like I'm going to fail if I try. And, you know, that's very much, you know, that deceptive energy. But, you know, with the bottom of the deck here, you have the Walker, and that's a journey, like, into the unknown. So, you know, your guides are really asking you to be brave enough to take that journey. And it's interesting because under that card I have stubbornness and inflexibility. So, like, also there are bricks floating here, and I don't know why that feels relevant, but it immediately made me think of Stonewall. Just saying. The first Pride was a riot. And I feel like you're being told to rebel against something. It may not be that specific circumstance for you, but I'm getting the sense that there is something that you need to rebel against that has been holding you back. And it could be things other people put in your head. Because a lot of that stuff I was talking about, you know, where people lack the confidence to bring whatever form of creativity it is, whether it's through art or through work or through even their appearance, what holds you back, that lack of confidence, is usually based around other people's opinions. And rebelling is, well, it's doing what you want anyway is rebelling, is what I'm trying to say. So the other thing with the King, so the actual description of the card is talking about how the King is so high up, and in this specifically, it's talking about a king that it sounds like they have had an easy life, so, you know, fate can flip on them and they won't know how to cope with it. But I don't get the sense that that is a meaning for this reading. But what it does say is it's a reminder that taking things for granted can cause irreparable mistakes. And I personally don't like the phrase irreparable, especially in terms of this kind of energy, because I feel that this kind of energy isn't do or don't. I feel like it's continuous progression. Like, this is something you work at and you continuously get better at, and you probably go through these cycles over and over and over of, you know, this kind of stagnation, frustrated, not imposter syndrome, not feeling good enough, and then you kind of get in the flow, and then you start making beautiful things or big moves or inventing something or writing something, whatever it is, or you like make the leap in your life and you get, you know, that new job or whatever. So I don't think irreparable is the right word here. However, it's the vibe of unrecognized talent. It's like you're the king, you're the star, and you don't see it. Which is kind of what I already said. But that's, I think, what they're saying about taking for granted is, and the card also mentions something about seeing things clearly. So I'm thinking that is like seeing yourself clearly, seeing your own talents clearly, because something that we run into is when it's you, when it's your energy, you're used to it. So what might be amazing, shocking, startling to other people, to you is every day because you live it every day. So like whatever skills you have, whatever energy you have, whatever your personal genius that you tap into is, because you do tap into genius whether you realize it or not, whatever that is, you're not seeing it for what it is. It is incredible, it is powerful, it is amazing, and you're not seeing that at all. You're like constantly discounting your own genius, your own abilities. And that might be where this love activation comes in, is, if you, because I've actually been wondering this myself, because they kept being like, oh, when you're going to have a romantic partner come in and it's going to shift everything with your creative stuff. And I was like, how would that even work? But it's because they bring insight and constant reinforcement, I think, of just how capable and amazing and gifted and talented that you are. So they're gonna like tell you all the time that you have the motherfucking style, baby. So I want to get some validation deck cards. This is a deck I designed specifically for this purpose, because I just firmly believe the world needs more love and validation. So these are just messages for you to show you the ways in which the universe and I think you're amazing and what you bring to this world that you probably cannot see. So every time I give somebody one of these cards, or more, because sometimes I give people more, I ask them to sit with it. So it's kind of like, ruminate on this, whatever comes out, and I'll pull one or two or whatever wants to come out, but one at a time, please. Finding the perfect cards here. Okay. So. Yep, that makes sense. So first of all, we have, you are a light in others' lives, and you can't see that. You can't see just how beneficial you are to other people. You can't see how much other people look up to you and don't tell you. And that's kind of something that I've been really learning to deal with, is I've always, because I lacked a sense of inner confidence for such a long time, since for a very long time I lacked inner self-love, something that I always was looking for is loud validation from others. But that's not a thing that people tend to actually do outside of people who kind of love bomb, or in some cases are just have certain codependencies. For the most part, the steady, balanced people, usually they're not going to be constantly saying, oh my god, you're so amazing, oh my god, you're so amazing, because, like, first of all, that would sound like a broken record. It would lose its zest. And I mean, how often do you see other people say that to other people, like, outside of celebrity? You really don't see that often, outside of compliments on looks, which I think people do a lot. But just in general, people just kind of vibe together. They don't constantly say, they don't constantly list off all the things that they love about their friends. And maybe we should, and maybe that's something that we can start doing for others to lead the way. But anyway, all of that to say, you are a light in other people's lives and you don't see it. And I'm being told, I think by Michael, yeah, it's Michael, so I work with Archangel Michael a lot. I'm being told to tell you to ask the angels or your guides or your ancestors or whoever you work with, ask them to put evidence of this in your face. Ask them to put evidence of this in your daily life, of, you know, how people see you, how much you are beneficial, not beneficial, beneficial sounds like you're bleeding yourself dry for other people. Just how much you light up other people's lives and don't realize it. Ask your angels to show you that on a regular basis. So, second, your work to better yourself is amazing. So this is very important to sit with as well. Because this is you have done so much and you have come so far and your progress is incredible. You're doing better than, air coming up. You're doing better than you think you are. In fact, you're doing spectacularly and you're not giving yourself credit for it. Because, like, you fucking sparkle, by the way. And I don't know if you, this deck is my own design. And as you can see, these are some very, like, sparkly, like, there's a lot of, you know, stars and the dots and sparkles and stuff. But that's like you sparkle this much and you don't know it. You don't see it, but you do. So you're being reminded of that because you should see it. You should see how amazing and beautiful you are in this world, and you don't. So that is all I have for you. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I hope that it brought you some insight and was beneficial for you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching.